like that, but they got to be green, and they got to be stacked next to each other, or they're going to get, every time you get in here, they get beat down by the moving averages because the overhead sell pressure, right? And there's no volume except huge sell volume. So any bounce off of here into these moving averages, you're going to get immediately rejected, and it's going to force you down right now in XRP. And now that we've diagnosed, sniffed out, and detected how we got here in an industry exclusive way, we're going to delete some of this malarkey now because it no longer needs to be here. Well, that needs to be here because this met the technical target. Our watch has been hit, and then we're going to get rid of this, right? And get rid of all this noise and nonsense and mumbo jumbo out of the way. Now you need to try to figure out what's going to happen. So we're going to put these smaller now because they are now, we don't need to see these right now. Start to move these over into the future now for when we want to use them. Delete that, right? Now you got to say, is this a big W where you came down, came up, came down, and now you tried to come back up? See that? Is this something like this that we're in, right? Where we're at a phenomenal buying opportunity because it is hitting the 200-day moving average, which is a buy zone. Or is this something that's just going to start to trade down now and just crash and not be able to hold this 108, get a little bit of a pump to the moving averages, and then get rejected? That's what you need to start watching out for. But right now, I don't see any big volume to indicate that, God, of course it had to stop there. I don't really see any big volume that would indicate we have a big pump going. So what I would watch for right now, after we broke out of that rising wedge, is if you form another rising wedge here. See, this is why we moved these over. You have upper resistance at the $1.19 now in a descending fashion after we just hit this underneath support. Now what you could do is form another rising wedge where, let me show you this real quick. You can trade up like that, and now you have another rising wedge. So you could be about to do something like that, and if you do, and you pay attention to see if you can hold this line with some volume, this could be a nice 10.5 to 11% trade in XRP. So this is what I would look for you to be in now. If you crash below that, your next line to come down to, yes, we know we're coming down there, but your next line to come down to in between that and the top of the last line of defense to the shit house or the get my shit together box in orange that starts at 58 cents is 68 cents is your next step down, right? Moving along to, I don't even know if I talked about Bitcoin. Bitcoin, you can see now, so that's XRP. You can see how we diagnosed, sniffed out, and detected that. And all of these were very similar. Bitcoin was in a very big rising wedge, or a rising channel, not a rising wedge. It was in a huge rising channel. See that? And it started all the way out at about 30,000, but really the first targets were hit at about 36,656. And that's where we're in now. And we've been telling you as people have been panicking. When it hit here, we said we didn't break. Watch it. And it bought back in and got up to 50, just shy of 50,000. Then we put a watch out, just like we have on Doge, XLM, and the rest of them that are in these rising channels and wedges. In this case, a channel, we had an industry exclusive watch there at the 48,646 and 26 cents. And now you can see we've had a nice crash with some nice volume to break this key uptrending support. What the volume indicates now that there was a move made there to decisively break out of this, right? Now what usually happens, you see it's pumping back up. You can come up and retest this, and then if the volume's not there and the overhead sell pressure is there, you crash. And you come down to your underneath target, your initial underneath target to the moving average at about 44,000, right? And then the ultimate target is going to end up being 28,193 and 49 cents because we know we have a big late August and September consolidation at a new level down as we work our way into a big November crash, right? But we do know after this pump, we have a huge crash, and Vincenzo's been calling in Bitcoin for 40 to 50% initial crash, which would bring us down to that $27,000 mark, which is a 44% crash. Then a huge consolidation with big pumps and dumps, right? And if we zoom out to the daily time frame, we're going to have big pumps and dumps. But we're going to be in this big consolidation down here, right, after we crash. And then we're going to come down and have a big November crash that's going to bring us all the way down to potentially $10,000 in November. We'll keep an eye out on that for you here at Vincenzo's Go Crypto Investing. because you can see where I have it circled at $27,755.53, that in November, between our two targets, if we take the median of these crashes, the average between both, we're looking at a 56% crash to the upper end of our last line of defense, or get my shit together zone, before the shit house, all the way down to $12,000 in November with a huge crash. Or we have a huge crash coming late August, which is now, to early September, down to here. Then we have a huge consolidation, and then another huge crash, right? So here's what you got going on in Bitcoin, and then I'm going to let you go here. You got a big crash coming, and then a nice consolidation, and then another huge crash coming. See that? This is what you got going on. Big crash from where you're at now to 28,000. Then a nice up and down consolidation where there's going to be big pumps where you can make money to get people in. And then another at the end of that consolidation in the first week or two in November, a huge crash to the next leg down to get into the heart of, or the top zone of our last line of defense, to the shit house, or AKA the get my shit together zone, right? And that's what we're watching for. We've been forecasting that since way back here when we diagnosed this pump, and it, it's still diagnosed and sniffed out this pump that was coming, gave you the heads up. We're giving you the heads up as we have that it's coming down, and then we're giving you the heads up of big consolidation with up and down big moves on the bull and bear side, and then another huge crash down. We're giving you the method behind the madness and an insight and super simple, easy ways to trade this market. 4 steps to 20 steps ahead of the rest of the YouTube hustlers, shysters, fleece hustlers, and